Chosen one, only 50% will cross over tonight. Be ready. The weight of that truth isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken something divine within you. What's approaching isn't simply a shift in circumstances, it's a spiritual passage, a dimensional leap, a line in the invisible realm that only a prepared few will step beyond. This is not about worthiness in the eyes of man. It's about readiness in the eyes of the Most High. You've been sensing it. The strange silence before the shift, the aching anticipation, the internal pressure building like the sky before a storm. All of this has been preparing you for the moment now approaching, the crossover. And while many have heard the calling, only a fraction have truly prepared for what comes next. Before we move further, stay with this message until the very end. This isn't just a video, it's an energy transmission, and it has been divinely timed. If you believe that what's meant for you is finding its way to you right now, declare your warmest wishes in the comments and write 144, a sacred number signaling alignment and breakthrough. This is not about superstition, it's about energy, it's about vibration. And your declaration is your agreement with the unseen. The universe is listening. Speak only what you're ready to receive. Now, chosen one, show your light by liking this video and subscribe to the channel. And let's step into this together. Now, let's go deeper. The crossover moment, that threshold between where you've been and where you're destined to go, is not merely a date or a time. It's a state, a frequency. And though the physical world may seem quiet, in the spiritual realm, tonight echoes like thunder. Half will walk forward, others will remain in loops, cycles, delay. Not because they aren't good people, not because they didn't want it, but because they didn't shift when the Spirit moved. They were distracted, too tied to what was, too afraid of what's coming. They heard the invitation, but didn't respond with full surrender. And that's why preparation matters. This isn't about running toward the blessing. This is about releasing the version of you that cannot go where you're headed. That outdated mindset, that fear-based identity, that version of you that's still waiting for external validation. It cannot survive the next dimension. Only your authentic, purified, deeply surrendered self can make the leap. God isn't promoting the performance. He's calling forth the pure. The ones who've allowed the fire to refine, not define. The ones who lost everything but kept their soul intact. The ones who chose silence when they could have shouted. The ones who've been hidden, misunderstood, underestimated, and still stood strong. And maybe that's you. Maybe that's why you feel the pressure tonight. Because deep inside, something is telling you that this is not an ordinary moment. It's a gate. And this time, not everyone will pass through it with you. Don't fear that. Celebrate it. Not from arrogance, but from alignment. You didn't fight all those inner battles for nothing. You didn't walk through that wilderness just to stay there. No, you were being prepared to cross over. But what does crossing over really mean? It's not just about material breakthrough, although yes, for some, this moment will bring the release of wealth, opportunities, divine alignments. But deeper than that, it's a spiritual repositioning, a shift in mantle, a change in spiritual jurisdiction. You're not just stepping into new territory, you're becoming a new version of yourself, the one that matches your destiny. And only that version can hold what's coming. So tonight, as the energy shifts, ask yourself, am I clinging to who I was or surrendering to who I'm becoming? Am I resisting the silence or listening in it? Am I still asking for signs, or am I trusting what I already know? These aren't just rhetorical questions. They're the exact tests determining who crosses over and who doesn't. And for those who've been quiet lately, distant, less reactive, that's not weakness. That's power. That's refinement. That's what it looks like when your soul is being elevated beyond this realm's noise. You don't need to explain your stillness, your calm, your retreat. The ones who were meant to understand already do. And the rest? They'll see it once you rise. Because this isn't just about being chosen, it's about responding like you are. Carrying yourself like the anointing you hold. Protecting what's growing in silence. Not everything needs to be announced. Some shifts are too sacred for noise. And the truth is, God will often speak the loudest right before your breakthrough. Not through chaos, but through quiet. A subtle push, a divine nudge, a soft whisper that says, "Get ready, it's time." If you've been feeling that lately, you're not imagining it. You're discerning it. And that's how you know you're one of the few. The 50%. The ones chosen not just to be seen, but to carry something eternal. Tonight, don't chase anything. Sit in the stillness. Listen. Align. The next part of this journey won't be based on hustle. It will be led by discernment. That's why so many can't cross over. Because they still think it's about doing more, proving more, showing more. But God is saying, "Be still, and I'll show you what is already yours." This is only the beginning. Chosen one, the night has not come to defeat you. It has come to reveal you. This moment, so sacred and silent, is not about activity in the outer world. It's about spiritual readiness. What's being tested is not your strength, not your status, but your sensitivity. Your ability to recognize a divine shift without needing the world to validate it. Only a few can feel it. This quiet invitation to step beyond everything that once held them back. And that's why only 50% will cross over tonight. Because this isn't about physical movement. This is a spiritual migration. You may feel unsettled, restless, almost like you're standing on the edge of something invisible, but massive. That feeling isn't confusion, it's confirmation. That trembling in your spirit is heaven's way of saying, "Hold still, something is coming." This isn't a night for noise, it's a night for alignment. And those who still carry clutter, emotional, spiritual, mental, may miss the moment. Because the doorway is narrow, and it only opens to the ones who come without baggage. You can't carry everyone into this next realm. You can't bring everything with you. That's why so much has been stripped. People you thought would walk with you disappeared. Opportunities you thought were certain suddenly vanished. The path got quiet. You got quieter. But that wasn't punishment. It was purification. You were being trimmed down, not to be diminished, but to fit through the gate. Some things had to fall off, so your destiny could rise up. Understand this. What's ahead of you is too heavy for an impure vessel to carry. God is not placing glory on ego. He is not attaching divine favor to broken identity. That's why He's been hiding you, refining you, correcting you privately, so He can reward you publicly. And tonight, something sacred is happening in the invisible. The heavens are shifting, and your name is being whispered in places your feet haven't even reached yet. But you won't get there by force. You'll get there by flow. And only those who know how to flow with divine timing will make the crossover. That's the difference between the 50% who step into breakthrough and the 50% who stay in the loop of almost healed, almost free, almost called, almost anointed, but not quite. Why? Because they didn't listen when God said, "Be still for a moment. Hide for a moment. Trust me for a moment." They wanted action. You chose surrender. And that's why you're here. Don't be surprised if tonight you feel a mix of peace and intensity. Don't be surprised if the people who once demanded your time no longer know how to access you. You're elevating. They can't reach where you're going. And that's not rejection. That's revelation. God is removing the unnecessary from your atmosphere. Not because you're better, but because you're built for more. And more doesn't come to the distracted. It comes to the devoted. This is your hour of devotion, of deep listening, of stillness so precise that heaven recognizes your faith even in silence. You don't need to shout tonight. You don't need to plead. You just need to align. Let your posture say everything your prayers once had to scream. You've been heard. You've been seen. And now, you're being shifted. The transition will not be loud. It will not be dramatic. It will be divine. The doors will open in silence. The access will come through obedience. And when it happens, when you step into the new, there will be no question that it was God. Not luck, not connection, not chance, but the Creator Himself orchestrating your elevation. Only 50% will make it. Not because the others didn't desire it, but because they weren't ready to stop being seen in order to be spiritually reborn. But you were willing to go quiet. You were willing to let them wonder. Let them talk. Let them doubt. And in your silence, something powerful was forming. A spiritual momentum that no one saw coming. Now, stay in position. Don't rush, don't explain, don't defend. What is happening now is spiritual, and those who don't carry the right frequency won't even recognize the miracle unfolding in you, and that's okay. The next chapter isn't for convincing, it's for becoming. The night is holy. Your name is being spoken in the right rooms. The shift has begun. Chosen one, you can feel it now, can't you? That invisible current pulling on your soul. That quiet call echoing inside your chest. It's not anxiety. It's not fear. It's the spiritual current of divine transition. You're not imagining the weight in the atmosphere. You're not being dramatic when you say something is about to happen. Your spirit is tuned into a frequency that most will never hear. That's why this moment feels sacred. And also why it feels so lonely. Don't be discouraged by that isolation. That solitude is intentional. In fact, it's sacred. Before every major elevation, there is a silence, a stillness, a pull away from the crowd. Because heaven doesn't prepare warriors in the spotlight. It forges them in the shadows. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. And the position God needs you in right now is not public. It's internal. It's quiet. It's deeply personal. You don't need a microphone tonight. You don't need applause. What you need is alignment. And that alignment happens when you stop trying to understand everything and simply surrender to what you feel in your soul. You know something is shifting. You've known for a while. This isn't just a season change. This is a dimension shift. And those who carry pride, clutter, ego, or resentment will not be able to pass through. That's why the road narrowed. That's why the call got harder. You weren't being tested to be broken. You were being stretched to be trusted. This is not a punishment. It's a process. a divine design to strip away everything that can't go with you into your breakthrough. Because what you're stepping into requires clarity, clean hands, a pure heart, a still spirit. If you carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's window, you'll miss what's being handed to you. This moment is a divine filter, and not everyone makes it through. Only 50% will cross over tonight. Not because God is cruel, but because the assignment ahead requires complete surrender. And not everyone is willing to let go of what they've always known for something they've never seen. But you are. You're not here by mistake. You didn't survive all of that pain, confusion, delay, and waiting just to blend in. You were shaped in the fire for this moment. The breakthrough that's coming isn't just financial. It's not just relational. It's identity deep. It's the version of you that's been hidden beneath layers of survival. You're not just crossing into a new blessing. You're crossing into the true you. Let them laugh. Let them overlook you. Let them misunderstand. You weren't built for validation, you were built for legacy. And legacy isn't born in the spotlight. It's birthed in the secret place. In the moments where you feel invisible, yet internally you know you're becoming undeniable. God is crafting something in you that cannot be copied, faked, or denied. This next realm, it will not tolerate imposters. It will not allow counterfeits. Only the true ones will walk through. That's why your character was tested. That's why your patience was pressed. You're not being held back. You're being released at the exact right time. The hour is near, and heaven is moving. Quietly, precisely, powerfully. There are things aligning in the spirit that your natural eyes can't see. Connections forming, paths opening, resources being redirected in your favor. But this moment still requires silence. The most dangerous thing you could do right now is break your posture by trying to explain what God is doing in you. Don't announce. Don't convince. Don't reveal prematurely. When the shift happens, it will speak for itself. When the elevation begins, your silence will be your testimony. People will wonder how it happened, why it happened, why it was you. But they won't know that your quiet obedience tonight, this stillness, was the seed that birthed the overflow. So wait, breathe, stay in alignment. Don't fall for the temptation to be seen before you've fully transformed. The ones who rise in divine timing carry a weight no crowd can deny. The next part of your journey is already written. The doors will open when your spirit is ready to walk through them. Let your posture remain quiet. Let your faith remain loud. There's a reason you feel this divine pull tonight. It's not anxiety, it's alignment. You're stepping closer to the threshold that separates the version of you the world once knew from the version of you that God always intended to reveal. And the crossing? It isn't external, it's internal. It begins in your thoughts, your choices, your spiritual readiness. You've been asking for confirmation, for clarity, for a sign that you're not imagining the weight of this moment, and this is it. The restlessness in your spirit is not resistance, it's readiness. You are not falling behind, you are being synchronized with something bigger than you. Something holy, something orchestrated with the kind of precision only heaven can design. And tonight, it's not about rushing, it's not about force. It's about being still enough to catch what's coming. Because the shift is spiritual first. You'll feel it before you see it. You'll sense it before you can explain it. And the ones who cross over are not those who know everything, but those who trust everything. even when it doesn't make sense. God is not requiring perfection. He is requiring surrender. And that surrender begins with obedience in the quiet. Because in this stillness, your spiritual roots are going deeper than they ever have. You're being anchored for the overflow. The stability of what's coming depends on the strength of your foundation. And your foundation is being forged right here, right now, in this hidden space. So don't be alarmed if your usual distractions start to fall away. Don't panic if some relationships begin to loosen or shift. That's not rejection. That's redirection. You're being divinely distanced from what could interfere with your crossing. Not everyone is meant to go with you. Not every habit, not every mindset, not every opportunity. This moment is for the ones who are willing to walk away from good, to make space for great. For the ones who would rather carry peace than popularity. For the ones who don't need a crowd to feel chosen. You are one of those souls. That's why you feel it so deeply. That's why you've never fit into the systems others praise. You were wired for something rare. And rare things require rare preparation. Let the silence stretch if it needs to. Let the discomfort deepen your discernment. God isn't late, He's intentional. Every delay, every detour, every door that seemed shut tight was a tool. A tool for pruning, for shaping, for separating you from everything that couldn't go with you. Because what's on the other side of this crossover is not just a blessing. It's a beginning of a new level of influence, of abundance, of purpose. But you can't lead if you haven't first learned how to follow His still voice. That's what this is about. Training your spirit to move at the whisper, not the shout. To follow without needing the full map. It's in this place that your authority is established. Not because of what you do, but because of who you've become while no one was watching. That's where the anointing gets activated. And it's that anointing that will carry you through doors that others can't even see yet. So if you're in the waiting, stay there. If you're in the quiet, lean into it. Let this night be sacred. Let it be set apart. Because the moment you feel forgotten is the exact moment you are being focused. Not by people, by God Himself. The ones who cross tonight are not the loudest. They're not the flashiest. They are the ones who listened, who trusted, who didn't break their posture when things got unclear. You are being numbered among them now, not by men, but by heaven. There's a holy hush falling over you right now, chosen one, not the silence of absence, but the stillness of divine strategy. You are not being ignored. You are being incubated, hidden, not to be forgotten, but to be fortified. The crossing over is not for the faint of heart. It is for the spiritually awake, for the soul that dares to believe what hasn't yet been seen. Tonight is not an ordinary night. It's not just another sunset. It's a threshold. The line between your former self and the version that's been maturing in secret. The person you're becoming isn't built on performance, it's built on faith, forged in stillness and sealed by obedience. That's why this feels different, because it is. You may feel exhausted from the battles behind you. You may be weary from the waiting, but that weariness is the final signal, not of defeat, but of birth. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. There's a spiritual release coming, one that's been delayed for your protection, not your punishment. It's been paced perfectly by the divine hand guiding your steps. And now, the crossing over is calling. It's not just a moment. It's a mantle, a shift in how heaven sees you. And soon, how the earth will respond to you. The favor you're about to walk in isn't just for your elevation. It's for divine demonstration. Those who counted you out will have no choice but to count again. Not because you proved them wrong, but because God proved His word right. This is why He told you to remain low, to stay hidden, to not force anything. Because the glory that's coming would have been contaminated had it come too soon. The eyes that couldn't discern your value would have mishandled your purpose. So God protected you by hiding you, even when it felt like He was withholding from you. You were never being denied. You were being distinguished. That's what this crossing is about. Not chasing more, but becoming more. Not running after the promise, but being shaped to carry the promise without it crushing you. The weight of what's next requires a lighter spirit. That's why so much has fallen off of you. The heaviness, the old patterns, the expired relationships, they couldn't go where you're being sent. You had to be emptied so you could overflow. And now, it's close. So close you can feel the wind shifting, the air thick with anticipation. You're not hallucinating. You're not reaching. You're perceiving. And that perception is your prophetic proof. God does not tease. He prepares. And if your spirit feels this stirred, it's because your soul already knows. You're walking into something you've never seen before. Don't second-guess your steps now. You've come too far through the wilderness to turn around at the water's edge. Yes, it's deep. Yes, it's unfamiliar, but it's also divine. You were born to walk across what others drown in, to tread where others tremble. That's what being chosen really means. Not a life of ease, but a life of impact. And that impact begins the moment you stop doubting your preparation and start trusting your positioning. You're not late. You're right on time. You're not behind. You're being aligned. And tonight, it's not just another night. It's a sacred passage, one that can only be crossed by those who have been refined by fire, but never burned, broken, but not bitter, hidden, but not forgotten. The kind of soul who walks silently into greatness, not needing applause, only anointing. You are that soul. You're entering the hour where silence becomes the loudest confirmation of your alignment, where doors begin to open not because you knocked, but because heaven has pre-authorized your arrival. You won't need to prove your worth. You won't need to campaign for visibility. The divine spotlight is already rotating in your direction, and when it hits, everything that's been hidden will shine with undeniable clarity. This is why your spirit has been so stirred. This is why you've felt the strange tension between peace and urgency, between rest and rising. Because something sacred is culminating. And though your natural eyes may not see the full manifestation just yet, your soul knows. The shift has already begun. You are no longer who you were just days ago, and you'll never be that version again. There are moments in time that feel like destiny brushing its fingertips against your reality. This is one of them. This crossing isn't ceremonial, it's catalytic. It breaks cycles. It ends delays. It closes chapters you didn't even know you were still reading. And as you step forward, you'll start noticing how old patterns no longer have power. Old fears no longer have language. Old wounds no longer sting. Because when God calls you forward, He also strips the chains behind you. You will no longer move from survival. You will flow from certainty. The certainty that what God said about you, what He deposited in you, what He's birthing through you, cannot be stopped. Not by man, not by timing, not by opposition. The crossing is irreversible, and now that you've stepped over in spirit, everything around you must begin to respond in alignment. This is not just elevation, it is evolution, and it came because you obeyed in obscurity. You prayed when no one was watching. You stayed humble when pride could have felt like protection. You remained rooted in faith when the winds of fear tried to uproot you. And that posture has positioned you for something that cannot be earned, only revealed. There's a reason you didn't fit where you once did. A reason the room felt too small, the conversations too shallow, the opportunities too forced. That's because your future requires an environment tailored for your calling. And now, God is crafting that space. In silence, in shadows, in spaces where your name is being discussed in the presence of decision-makers you haven't even met yet. Yes, chosen one, your next has already been spoken. And while many wait for permission to rise, you've already been given the decree. Not by people, but by providence. That's why you've felt the urgency, the trembling in your chest, the electricity in your bones. It's not anxiety, it's awakening. Your spirit is syncing with heaven's timetable. And right now, heaven is saying, move, cross, it's time. The halfway point is over. The waiting season is closing. And from here on, you walk not with hesitation, but with holy authority. You don't just hope for the blessing, you become the embodiment of it. People will look at you and feel peace. They'll sense something they can't explain, because you carry what they've been searching for. Proof that God moves, that God funds, that God fulfills. So don't shrink now. Don't second-guess the call. Don't let temporary emotions sabotage permanent transformation. You didn't come this far just to dip your feet at the edge. You came to walk across, fully, boldly, irrevocably. This is the moment when the spirit you carry begins to echo into rooms, into hearts, into places your physical feet haven't even touched yet. Because when the chosen cross over, the whole realm takes notice. What's shifting now isn't just your location, it's your vibration. Your frequency has changed. Your energy no longer resonates with the past version of yourself, and that disconnection may feel strange at first. But it is the clearest signal that the spiritual upgrade has occurred. You've been recalibrated for where you're going, not where you've been. People around you might not understand the stillness you carry, the way you speak less, observe more, and discern everything. They might call it distance, but this isn't distance. It's depth. You've been pulled into deeper waters, where clarity flows, where divine instructions arrive not in noise, but in whispers. You're not absent. You're absorbing, not hiding, but honoring the sacred silence that surrounds a shift. This moment isn't about impressing anyone. It's not about validation, claps, or applause. This is about precision. God is leading you with a level of intentionality that cannot afford distractions. He is not building you for popularity. He is preparing you for permanence. And permanence doesn't arrive loud. It arrives rooted, unshakable, quietly potent. That's what you're becoming. Every delay you've encountered up until now wasn't denial. It was divine redirection. If certain doors had opened prematurely, you would have walked into something that your spirit had already outgrown. If certain people had stayed, they would have suffocated the version of you that's now blossoming. Nothing was wasted. Even the waiting held weight, because in the waiting, your foundation deepened. You're not late. You are right on time. God's time. And the evidence of that will begin to manifest faster than your logical mind can process. Conversations you didn't initiate will open unexpected doors. Opportunities that once ignored you will now seek you out. Provision will flow from unlikely sources, and favor will find you in rooms you didn't even request entry to. Because when God funds your steps, He also funds your visibility. But listen closely, chosen one. Visibility does not mean exposure. There are layers of your calling that are still being protected, even as you're brought forward. Not everyone will see the full picture. Not everyone should. God is not elevating you to be consumed. He's elevating you to be commissioned. This isn't a platform for your ego. It's a pulpit for His glory.